Welcome to Mind, Body and Spirit.
Zafar, it's been a long time, so it's good to see you again.
Brand new series where we'll be exploring a variety of issues relating to our health.
So there's a lot of different diets out there, and there's a lot of different...
A couple of simple and effective exercises that we can use on a daily basis. Welcome to another episode of Mind, Body and Spirit. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about physical exercise. I think we all understand that physical exercise is important. We've heard it from so many different sources. We've heard it on TV. We've heard experts talking about it. But what are some of the exercises that we can do? And how should we be doing them to actually maximize benefit for our body? That's what we're going to explore over the course of today's show. Alongside physical exercise, nutrition, which is just a fancy way of saying the food we eat, is really important for maintaining good health, for allowing us to recover quicker from our exercises, and just for overall general well-being and health. For our first segment, let's go over to our expert and ask him a few questions about nutrition and physical exercise. Hi there and welcome to the next section. Today we've got with us Dr. Haris Khan, who graduated in 2018. He's currently doing his speciality at Frimley Park Hospital and he's training to get into cardiology. So welcome to the show. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Great. So today the topic is around physical activity and nutrition. And the first question I want to ask you is, what are the best types of physical activities that we could be doing that's beneficial for us?
So there's various types of physical activity that we can do. And obviously, every individual has their own preferences. For example, some people like playing team activities, football, rugby, cricket, things like that. Some people like individual activities, for example, running, going to the gym. Yeah. So I think it's vital to do something that you enjoy because you're more likely to do it. And as a result, secondary to that, you'll also reap the benefits of the physical exercise itself, whether it's from the mental perspective, physical perspective, or the spiritual perspective.
Yeah. Are there any certain activities that you'd say you should do more of, or certain things you should do less of? Because obviously, not everyone can go and play football. They might be more prone to just walking or something like that. Would something like that even be acceptable?
Yeah, completely. I think obviously you've got to take the individual's kind of their age, their gender, their other health conditions and things like that, and what their goals are. For example, if someone's maybe 16, 17 years old, then like year 10, they play football 4 times a week with their friends. You don't expect someone who's 60 years old and had a heart attack in the past to be able to do the same thing. So it's about individuals and kind of just seeing what your long-term goals are, picking things that you would enjoy doing and starting in slow increments and then build them up gradually so you reap more health benefits out of it.
What would you say, from your expert opinion, is a recommended ideal amount you should be doing physical activity in a week?
I think what the NHS and the World Health Organization recommend is that they say about 150 minutes of moderate exercise a week is recommended. What they define by moderate is that when you're, for example, when you're walking or when you're doing the activity, you can say a few words, but you can't speak in a continuous flow, right? Okay. And then in addition to that, what they say is that if you do, for example, 75 minutes of vigorous exercise, that's the same as doing 150 minutes of moderate exercise. What they define by that is, again, you can't do the exercise. Exactly, you can't hold a conversation during the exercise. Again, so you can start off by, like we said, running, cycling, swimming. If you're doing those things at a gradual pace, obviously that classifies as a moderate kind of exercise. And if you're doing those things at higher tolerance, then you can say that's vigorous exercise.
Excellent. To supplement our physical activity, is there a certain type of food we should introduce into our diets?
Yeah, I think most people know about the basic food components. Like we have carbohydrates, proteins, fats, fruits and vegetables. I think it's about getting a balance of all of those components. What's usually recommended is having a 40% carbohydrate intake, 30% proteins and 30% fats. And out of all those food types, you should try to have a balance and try to pick healthier options. For example, like we said previously, in terms of if you're having potatoes and things like that, there's various ways you can make them. Sometimes they could be healthy or unhealthy, so you should try to go for the healthier alternatives. For example, grilled potatoes as opposed to fried.
Of course, yeah. Nowadays, there's a tendency for a lot of people to use processed foods or to use microwaves and pre-packed foods. Is there any harms in having food that's kind of processed and heavily packaged, or a lot of sugars in there?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of harm and kind of side effects to these sort of things. Obviously, the advantages are, for example, they're readily available and you can make them quickly and convenient, and anyone can make them. However, like you said, they're high in salt, high in cholesterol, high in sugars, high in fats, and they've got a lot of other preservatives in those things, which are obviously a short-term benefit, but long-term they add up and obviously contribute to things like heart disease, contribute to like maybe diabetes, higher blood pressure, and other risk factors.
Yeah. So in the fitness industry nowadays, a lot of personal trainers are recommending different types of diets. Previously, in the last decade, it used to be the Atkins diet, which is heavily kind of protein and meat-based. Now you've got things like keto, you've got people that do juicing. What's your view on these different types of diets? Are they fads, or do they have some value?
Yeah, so I think it comes down to individual goals and what every individual wants to achieve. So, for example, if someone is trying to bulk up and gain weight, then generally recommended is higher kind of calorie intake, but obviously you weight train to kind of compensate and go from there. The best thing to do is obviously, if you're quite serious about fitness, go to maybe a coach or a personal trainer who can kind of give you some sort of ideas in regards to what you can do for achieving your desired goals. But if you're not kind of specific on the goals you want to achieve and generally just want to be fit and healthy, I think it's important to just have a balanced diet like we discussed earlier, trying to have 5 fruit and veg a day, carbohydrates, protein and healthy fats and these sort of things, and just try to achieve a balance.
And in terms of water intake as well, is that quite important for your diet? Because I think a lot of people, like, I know my parents, for example, they'd have like 5 cups of tea a day, but they'll have 1 glass of water if you're lucky. So how important is water intake to your...
Water is important, but touching upon what you mentioned about 5 to 6 cups of tea, so that is still water intake because a lot of that is water. What is usually recommended is about 8 cups of water a day. Water is extremely important. More than 90% of your body is made out of water, and it's extremely important for keeping yourself hydrated or the other metabolic functions that are going on, and just making sure you feel kind of rejuvenated and can function optimally on a day-to-day level. As I'm sure you've experienced, for example, if you're very dehydrated, you feel very tired, very lethargic, and just drained. Even though, for example, in our day-to-day lives, when like what people naturally assume is that you could be in a hot environment and you're going to get dehydrated, but that's not always the case, right? For example, on a day-to-day perspective, when you're walking around, if you're drinking 1 cup of water a day, your body will still be dehydrated and you won't be able to function as well as you normally would do. So it's not always naturally associated with being in 40-degree heat and not drinking enough water.
Another thing a lot of scientists are saying nowadays is intermittent fasting is really beneficial for your diet and general well-being. What's your view on that?
Fasting is a very good kind of medium for a lot of things and perspectives. So if you look at Ramadan in general, that Muslims engage in, it's a 30-day kind of month to, there's a lot of other kind of things you want to achieve out of it, but intermittent fasting is one of the things that you do in Ramadan generally. Now obviously with fasting, there's been studies and research papers which have shown that it reduces the risk of diabetes. For example, if you have patients who are borderline diabetes, a lot of them are put on kind of like calorie deficits and they're told to cut down on certain food types, and it's been shown that diabetes is reversible with diet. It helps with like blood pressure control, things like cholesterol, or lower your cholesterol, and it's good cleansing for the body anyway as well. What it's also shown is it increases stem cell production, and even with people with cancer, there's been some sort of early research to say that there might be some sort of benefit in cancer and other things as well. Yeah,
and I've heard it can start reversing the production of cancer cells as well, exactly. which is amazing. So, okay. Some people say that I'm not the physical sort, you know, people playing football and cycling, and it's just not in me. They might be, you know, suffering from being overweight or lack of enthusiasm. What could you recommend for someone like that? How can they introduce physical activity in their lives to become healthier?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think a lot of people kind of suffer with that. I think the good thing to do for those sort of individuals is find friends and family members who you can kind of get involved with. For example, I know my parents, they both go for a walk together, and in that way, obviously, you've got company as well. And it's a good way to start off as well, because I think a lot of things, even if you look in the gym, for example, a lot of times people, when they're starting off, they're not good at something, they're a bit apprehensive, they don't know what they're doing. Once you get better at something and you start enjoying it more, then obviously you can do it individually as well. But I think things are, for example, even when we mentioned like team activities, football, cricket, rugby, squash, tennis, anything which you can do with other individuals and it's enjoyable as well. I think that's probably a good idea to start with initially, unless you're a very dedicated kind of fitness head and you can go to the gym by yourself regularly. I think that's probably a good way to start off.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in our exercise section as well, they'll show you some of the exercises that you can do at home, which are really simple as well. So, okay, that's been really fascinating. Thank you so much. You've opened my eyes in a lot of ways. And thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Haris Khan. I've learned a huge amount myself, and I'm sure our viewers have too. So now we go to the next segment where we've got some key simple exercises. All right, welcome back. I'm here now with Sabah Amdi, a good friend of mine, who is a minister of religion as his day job. So tell me, Sabah, how do you actually keep fit and keep healthy throughout your day job?
Yeah, it's probably not what you see a minister of religion with in his garden, a sledgehammer and a tyre. But
certainly not.
But do you know what it came to use during COVID? Gyms were closed, it was hard to get out, and you were literally living through times where we've not lived through before.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I did things which I've not done before.
Yeah.
And that was get hold of a tyre from a Facebook market group page for a tenner. Bought,
for a tenner, this whole thing?
Yeah, the tyre,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then a sledgehammer which I got from Amazon. And to be honest, I just wanted to keep moving and stay active.
Yeah.
And this is a whole body workout. And
so you're telling me you got this for 10 quid and this one tyre and this hammer is a workout for your whole body, yeah?
Yeah.
So just explain that to me. How does that work?
Yeah, so it's just, you can find a lot of routines on Google.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be a genius to do this, but you've just got to be careful.
Right, okay.
So there's a few exercises you can do. You can stand in the tyre and lift the tyre. You can smack the tyre. You can drag it. Yeah, so it's the world's your oyster.
Do you want to show us a couple of things? And if you could explain what muscles it works as well, that would be great. Do you normally warm up before you do this, or do you go straight into it?
You should warm up.
Okay, and what would you normally do for a warm up? How would you?
Well, I don't think I've ever warmed up before.
You're young. When you get to my age,
yeah,
you have to
maybe,
warm up.
but I don't think I've ever. I think just thinking about this, you get warmed up.
Right. Okay.
So
fair enough. Fair enough.
But can't done this for a long time. But it's just simply as just smacking the tyre.
Right.
And then bring it back to yourself. So you could do one. You can do an exercise on each arm.
And what does that work? So when you went through that whole motion, what's that?
I think from your side, you'll know what muscles it works. But I think it'll end up working your shoulders,
right,
your back,
yeah,
your arms,
okay,
and your legs to some extent. Well, I think it's a whole body workout because you have to also stabilise.
It's actually like I'm feeling this hammer, and it's probably about 7 kg, is it? 14 pounds.
14 pounds. So however heavy that is.
Pretty heavy. It's pretty heavy. So just lifting that over your head is a proper workout in itself.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people use those. Are they Indian dumbbells? Do you know what I'm talking about? You know, they're just like normally it's just like a bar, and they just swing them round. Have you ever seen them?
No, I haven't.
Anyway, you can also use that with this, or even just moving it over your shoulder.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Or even just doing a bicep curl or a shoulder press.
Just
it'll all work out.
That makes sense. You could do so much with this.
Yeah, well,
one
it seems like a kettlebell, but a hammer version.
Wow. Okay.
So you might as well have a crack.
Oh, I want to rip my shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do I do then?
So you
I get this.
Just plant your feet.
Yep, like this?
No, it's not golf.
Okay, I thought it was going to go like that.
So
no, okay.
Plant your feet, and then as if you're gonna, so you hold it close and then bring it through your arms.
Nice.
And then bring it back.
Okay, all right, let's give it a go then. So hold it from here.
Yeah.
Over my head.
And then
like that.
Yeah.
Okay. See, and I pulled all my muscles now. See. That's really good. I actually felt that when I was doing that. It's like down your core.
So I think doing 10 or 15 of them on each arm.
Yeah.
Really just tire you up.
Right. Okay. So you have to do each side to keep it balanced then.
And then that's one of the workouts. Then you can stand inside the tire and deadlift it.
How do you grip? Okay. All right. Okay. Pretty straightforward. Now, how much does that tire weigh?
I don't know. You know, I don't think it's more than 20-30 kg.
Right. Okay.
And then you can also flip the tire.
Okay, and what would flipping the tyre be? So I'm guessing that is basically a squat, isn't it? You're going up and down.
In essence, yeah.
And how many would you do of that?
Again, just 10 or to failure.
Right, okay, so keep on going.
And then you can stand in the middle of it and then walk across the garden as well. Farmer's walk.
Farmer's walk.
There's loads you can do with it.
Just with a big tyre,
There's so many things you can do, and you just Google it what to do, and you can flip it, or you can even lie on the floor and use it as a leg press.
So how would flipping work? Can you just...
So you just put your hands, because
I've seen people in the gym doing this whole thing as well.
You just put your hands underneath it and flip. And doing that, try that from that side.
So what should I be doing in terms of my legs? Do I need to be going down to a squat position?
Yeah, how you feel comfortable.
So like this.
Yeah, and then flip.
I put my grin there.
Yeah.
I've got a groin injury. That's
So
right.
whatever, so you can do, again, just doing it over and over again.
Okay, you just go to the other side, keep
Yeah.
on doing that. Okay, fair enough.
And then, like I said, just Google it, and there's so many things you can do. And even just with that, even just with the hammer, this is a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
But for 30, 40 quid,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is a month's gym membership,
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
you've got, what, in essence, a lifetime of a workout.
Yeah. And how long would you go? So what would your typical
20
routine be? 20 minutes?
Yeah, so 20 minutes, I just go in a cycle of hitting the tyre,
Yeah.
deadlifting it, and then flipping it.
Okay.
And then even that, after 10, 15 minutes, just constant,
Yeah.
you really feel,
The
you
burn.
feel it. You really will.
Yeah.
And sometimes it might look easy, but you felt the weight of the
No,
sledgehammer.
that's not easy. Trust me, that is
And
not
doing
easy
that
at
for 20 minutes, you'll feel great. You get the hit of an.
all. And how did that help you during the lockdown? Because obviously you're locked in your house and you're in confines and you can't really get out. Did this kind of help from a mental perspective?
So
as well,
I think
or?
there's a lot. Also now being told to stay indoors in your own four walls
Yeah,
is
yeah.
difficult itself
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we've never been told to do that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then getting out, getting some oxygen and exercising.
Yeah.
Even exercising allows you to achieve positive mental health.
Yeah.
And that being a massive topic at the moment, in how to keep yourself well,
Yeah.
is super important. So if you can't get out, people are going for runs and whatever, but just to maintain a little bit of muscle mass and do something different. This was what got me through, in essence.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
consistency is key in everything.
Oh, absolutely. Well, this has been fascinating. I'm sure I can, all our viewers at home can find a tire from anywhere. You can buy a hammer from Amazon, as we've heard from Sabah. So, there's no excuse not to have a workout, really. You can't say that, £40 a month, I can't afford that, or £30 a month, whatever it is. You can use everyday items. You can use a sofa, you can use a chair,
Or even better, which if it is economic crisis and money's an issue, then even like a bag of rice or bag of flour I used, which is 20 kg.
True.
And you had to just make it work. Whatever you got at home with a little bit of weight,
Yeah.
it can happen. And I've even seen people using like brooms and putting 2 shopping bags at the end of it and fill it with like tins.
That's true, yeah.
And using that.
Yeah.
So you just got to think outside the box. It's doable
Yeah,
if you're super motivated. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's fascinating. I really enjoyed that. Thank you so much. I really
Thank you.
learnt a huge amount. Sabah, it's always a pleasure catching up with you. I learnt a
Likewise.
huge amount today, and I'm sure our viewers have learnt a huge amount of things you can do with simple everyday items. So there's no excuse now. But thank you again. Now we cut to our kitchen section where we have our chef preparing us a tasty dish. See you there.
Today we're gonna have very nice the dish. It's very healthy, very rich. It's cod fish fillet, very nice piece. And I'm gonna serve with the beans, different kind of the beans salad with tomatoes. Now, if you look at this chickpea, it's very good for your high blood pressure. If you want to lose some weight, eat this one. And both of these beans are full of iron and protein and everything, whatever we need. So that's why I'm a combination with this codfish, because codfish is not very fat fish. It's very low in fat. And then we're gonna add those things, and I'm gonna serve with a herbal sauce, the creamy or whatever. So now what we do, we have to boil the water, salt, a little bit of salt in this, because we're not gonna use like this. This is according to your own flavor and your taste. And because I said the herbal sauce, so it should be the herbal, whatever you have. I'm using rosemary, the tarragon and astragon, whatever the herbs you have. So you just use in a water, and then we take this, the codfish. It's beautiful fish. It's very nice, fluffy, and as I said, it's very low in fat. It's very dry fish. So I'm gonna boil this one. And at the same time, I'm gonna make this sauce, herbal sauce. As I said, to make an easy way to make the sauce. You can use everything from a fish stock and everything like this, but I just make this shortcut for you guys. So I'm using this any white sauce powder. You can use the fish powder, fish sauce, whatever you have. So I'm using this about 250 ml of the cream, milk, water, whatever you prefer, and about 1 tablespoon of this the powder in there. And then while we are waiting for our the sauce to warm up, so we use our beans salad. So I use a little bit onion, red, white, whatever you have. I'm using the red one today. Just roughly chopped, not very fine chopped, but just like that, so much. And you can take some garlic to just give the more heat, very nice flavor. Fine chop. And as I said, I'm using this health conscious thing. So we use everything, whatever is in our house. Is like garlic, fine chopped this ginger, and the onion, and the herbs, and the beans, and a little bit tomatoes. Tomatoes will be, I'm using this cherry tomatoes. You can use whatever you have. Whole tomatoes, you can just, because I'm using this one because it's give better look, nothing special. It just give the better look on your dish. I'm just gonna cut in two. I think that should be 4, 5, 6, whatever, according to your taste. So when the water is boiled, turn it off the heat and let it fish to rest, relax in the water. The meanwhile, we're gonna do this our salad, bean salad. The sauce is there, the herbal sauce. You can use either the butter, olive oil, vegetable oil, whatever you like to just make this bean salad. I'm using the butter, but it's up to you, whatever you like. In a warm pan, you put this, first you put this onion and garlic and a little bit of ginger, not so much. About so much, just to give a little bit of heat. So actually I'm trying, whatever I make, I try to make it in as simple way as is possible, not to make it complicated for you people. Like when you see, you don't get scared how I'm making, why I'm making. I don't want to impress you with my technique and everything. I just do. I know that you will like, it's easy for you to make it. So take a little bit kidney beans. I'm taking this kidney bean, black bean, and the chickpea. As I said, this is one of the God have given this present now to us for the high blood pressure and losing the weight. If you are like me, look. Why I'm using different kind of the beans is just to give the color to my dish. So my sauce is almost ready now, and my fish is gonna be ready soon. And when you come into this stage, you put some salt, according to your taste. The same with the pepper. You don't need to do like this. You can use whatever you have in your hand. In this stage, you put the tomatoes, because tomato I don't want to get mashed. It's just the look should be there. That's the whole point. Now, when sauce is in this stage, you have to add some herbs. Herbs mean whatever is you have at home. You don't need to use what I'm using. You can use whatever you have. You can use dill, parsley, astragon, tarragon, whatever you have. So I'm using those two herbs, which I think is nice. You have to boil the sauce a little bit to get out the flavor out of this the herb. So this is almost done. So now I put the herb inside. So I have to use this blender, mixer, whatever you have, to just get the flavor out of my herbs. And also when you use blender or mixer, whatever you have, it's good, give a very nice look to your sauce. Silky, foamy, that's what we're looking for. Just like that. Maybe a little bit more salt. As I said, according to your taste, what you like. Don't listen to me. You put as much salt you want, as much the pepper you want. So now what I'm teaching you is very easy way to make the sauce. As I said, use powder. Now take the hot plate and this ring. I'm using this ring because of to just focus on the middle and just look nice presentation. Is combination, I think, is not very common in our business, you know. The beans and the codfish and everything. It's just I try to make something different. Like this. As I said, the codfish is very, very, very dry fish. Wow. And the herbal sauce. The presentation, you can use your own fantasy. Don't look at what I have done, how I made it. Just you can use your own. Just put some herbs on top. Whatever you have at home. That's it. Here we have the poached codfish served on a bean salad and tomatoes. There you go, John. I hope you and your guests will like it.
That's enough for this time. I hope you learned something important about physical exercise and nutrition. Until next time on Mind, Body and Spirit, when we discuss another important topic. See you soon.